Hey there guys, my name is Brandon from Gearist.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Nano-Air Jacket from Patagonia. Every once in a very great while, I find myself having to give sort of a disclaimer about a piece of gear. The main reason for that is that I'm very conscious of coming off as overly positive about a certain piece of gear. But I can assure you that this piece that I'm wearing today is not one of those pieces. Not only am I super impressed by this, as you'll see here in a minute, but many other outlets, including Outside Magazine, are extremely impressed with what this piece, the Nano-Air Jacket from Patagonia, has done to forward the progress of performance outerwear. It's one thing to find a piece of gear that kind of breaks new ground in comfort. It's another thing to find a piece of gear that breaks new ground in performance. But putting those things together is really something very rare, and when it comes along, it's really worth noting. So let's get into telling you guys about why we think the Nano-Air Jacket for Patagonia is so good. At first glance, the Nano-Air Jacket appears very simple, and that's actually part of where the beauty lies for me. Now, the fabric on the outside is a DWR treated ripstop nylon, but I'll tell you what, it does not look like traditional ripstop nylon. Yes, if you get very close on it, you can see the little blocks and things like that, but they're very small, and the finish actually feels like kind of like a well-worn t-shirt. It's very nice and soft, and it's actually also quite stretchy and has a ton of give, which we'll talk more about a little bit later on. Now, that DWR finish that I mentioned, that stands for durable water repellent. In the case of this jacket, what that means is that if you get a light rain or snow or ice or what have you that's going to be falling on you, it's going to bead up and fall off really easily. I'm not saying you can wear this in a rainstorm. That is not what this is for, but when you have the moisture that you're trying to wick away from your body, you don't want other moisture on top of that compounding, which is one of the ventilation features of this that makes it so nice. The insulation on the Nano-Air Jacket is actually one of the most revolutionary pieces about this. It's a new form of insulation by the chemical company Toray called Full Range. Now, where most jackets and winter puff jackets and sweaters and things like this that we see are made up by small channels where the down or artificial down or thermal balls or whatever are stored in there, you see very small channels. It used to be back in the day that we'd have these big overstuffed channels, but then we realized that smaller channels, very small rows, make that stuff stay in place better so that it doesn't sink to the bottom or what have you. Now, in this jacket, what's really brilliant about it is you don't really see many channels. There are a few baffles. There's a stitch here, and here, but there aren't really that many baffles, and the reason being is because this full range insulation is actually stitched directly to the outside. And what this does is it means you don't have to worry about any of the insulation settling down. But what's fantastic about it is that it moves with you. I mean, look at this. It's so stretchy. It's amazing. It's just so stretchy. It's unbelievable. I am a pretty broad-shouldered guy and have yet to be able to find a position where I feel pulling. I mean, you can go like this. Yeah, sure, it's going to come up there, but it doesn't come up above my waist. You can go like this. I don't really feel any pulling across my back or across my chest. The motion and the range of motion of this is spectacular. Bart, it is just amazing. As we open the jacket up, there's a very simple plain weave liner right here. Nothing super special about it, but it has the same feel as the outside, which makes it extremely comfortable even against bare skin. So, this jacket is one of those where you can wear a variety of different base layers to really kind of bump up or down the amount of insulation you're going to get. And what's great about that is if you choose to wear just a short sleeve t-shirt on days where it starts off cold and gets warm, if you're on a hike or a climb or something like that, this is really adaptable to that because it's going to feel great against your skin. You're not going to get sweaty, that kind of sticky feeling you can get with some things where there's kind of a water-resistant liner on the inside. The Nano-Air Jacket does sport a full-length front zipper with a storm flap on the back. You can see here it is not seam sealed because, again, this is not meant to be a go-out-in-the-rain type of piece. Also included are 3 different pockets. There are 2 kind of hand pockets, one on each side, and then 1 breast pocket right here. Now, there is a hoodie version of the same exact jacket. We're obviously testing the Sans hoodie jacket, just the jacket instead of the hoodie. And on the hoodie, there's an additional breast pocket here. On this jacket, there is a high neck to help additionally seal out or in, heat or cold, depending on what you're looking at. But it's just, the fit of this thing is spectacular. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a second. According to Patagonia, the jacket is slim fit, which I think is actually really great in this case, for 2 reasons mainly. The first being that you don't feel like an immovable wall of marshmallow when you put it on, a la the kid from the Christmas Story. It's not like that. You feel very slimmed down. There's nothing that's additional bulk on you. The second thing is that you can easily wear a shell over it. The sleeves are one of the coolest parts for me because, again, I have broad shoulders, and it tends to be that not just the sleeve length is what I have to account for, but it's how much my shoulders expand when I have motions like this. But the sleeves are perfectly long, and even when I stretch, look, I'm stretching my arms out, they don't pull up. I mean, there's still plenty of room. Now, this makes it excellent for a trekking, a skimo, or like a ice climbing, or just a climbing jacket in general, because it's something where you have the ability to reach and not have to worry about this sliding up and kind of getting all in the way. So none of those issues come up. Additionally, it's got a dual adjustable hem, which you can see here, dual adjustable corded hem. That's really, really wonderful for, again, sealing in or allowing more ventilation of that heat that forms inside the jacket. While I've worn this in myriad situations to kind of put it through the ringer, I'm going to highlight 3 that I think are indicative of where you might be wearing this kind of on a more day-to-day basis. Up first is simply as a casual jacket. Now, I've worn this anywhere from 55-ish down to about 5 degrees as a casual jacket. Now, depending on what you've got on under it, it is just adaptable to all these things across the board. Of course, when you get down to 5 degrees, you're kind of pushing the limit on that, but I did have a sweater on under it, so I was totally fine. As a casual piece, again, I think that simple design and those simple lines, that slim fit, it's really, really very complimentary, and it just works well as a casual jacket because, again, you're not getting in your car and driving and feeling you have this big bulky thing on or anything like that. It's just completely flexible, low bulk, but still carries along the performance features that keep you warm and toasty when you need it. The second scenario I want to highlight is running. Now, this is not a running jacket, but I run, so I wore this running because I wanted to see what it was like. Now, I wore this when I was running. It was about 15 degrees. It was pretty cold. Underneath it, I had a base layer that was long sleeve. It was not thick. It was just against the skin base layer, and it did very, very well. I was very impressed in that range of motion that this allows for is really appropriate for running. Now, one thing that I did notice is that when I sweat, it kind of held on in the sleeve-ish area, held on to the smell a little bit, but mainly when it was damp from the inside, because I am, after all, a sweater. And it held on to that smell a little bit, but what was weird is that as soon as it dried out, it kind of went away. I didn't want that to compound on itself, so I did wash it after that, but it's worth noting that once this thing dries out, which is very quick thanks to its really amazing ventilation, once it dries out, any kind of scent tends to just evaporate. The third scenario I'm going to outline is hiking and or snowshoeing from about 20 degrees to about -5 degrees. Now, I will say that this was on more than one occasion, but one of these was with my wiggly as hell 4.5-year-old daughter, who enjoys snowshoeing for about 5 minutes, and then it's like, carry me daddy. So I wound up carrying a very wiggly 4.5-year-old little girl in the jacket. Felt totally fine. One of the cool things in this was that it was during falling snow, so I was really able to see that DWR finish come to life. Since it was so cold, there wasn't a whole lot of melting, but what always happens in those situations is that snow or that precipitation falls into the creases. If you're holding something like I was holding my daughter, it kind of builds up right, here or here up on the shoulder or something like that. While I did certainly see some things melt, they didn't really sink in. It was cool. So the outer shell, you could see get a little bit moist, but it wasn't really sinking through. I felt nothing on the inside, so that was really, really great. When the falling snow got to be a little bit more and it was down to -5, it was something where I felt like I was getting a little cold and it was appropriate for a shell to be put on over top of it. So I put on the Odin Moon light jacket from Helly Hansen, which is a great waterproof shell. I put that on right over this, and the thermal properties when you do that go through the roof. The reason being is that most of the function of this jacket is not that it's a waterproof, breathable thing, it's that it's air permeable. And as such, when you've got so much airflow in there, it really allows for that warmth to compound upon itself. But because it's so breathable, it can vent well. It basically regulates very, very well. But when I put this shell on, it sealed all that in, and man, it just gets so comfortably warm in there. And again, because of the low bulk, I was able to put this jacket on over top of it without any additional kind of feeling like, the kid from Christmas Story. Being completely honest with you guys, I really can't say enough about this jacket. It is a go-to of mine that I really, really love a lot, love a lot. One of the curious things that I'm interested to see is how Patagonia is going to use this technology to advance some of its other products. One of those reasons is that the price tag of this, if you know Patagonia products and their pricing, they tend to be up there. The pricing is actually really nice, especially for the bang for the buck that you get with this. This comes in, this one, at $249, and the hoodie version comes in at $299, so $250 and $300. And for Patagonia, both of these are really amazing prices and well worth looking at. This jacket is a favorite among climbers, it's a favorite among hikers and trekkers, and basically adventurers of all kinds. This is something that can be worn casually, it's something that can be worn during activities of all sorts. It's just a really, really versatile piece, and I am excited to see where Patagonia goes with it next. That full range insulation and its ability to be stitched to the outer shell makes it so versatile, and I think that, you know, look out for pants and things like this that are using this sort of technology. This is not just a piece that kind of comes along and fits into the normal goings-on of performance outerwear. This is a piece that is pushing performance outerwear to its next evolution. It's a really great piece that I think you're going to see a lot of mimicking of in years to come, and that's a good thing because it's pushing everybody else to advance their pieces that much more. So guys, my question to you is, what do you look for in a performance outerwear piece? Is it insulation? Is it comfort? Is it performance? What are you looking for? Please leave your answers in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for joining us for a few minutes today. If you've got any questions about this video or any of our other reviews, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments section below. Also, don't forget, we have our Ask Gearist series going on, and you can just ask questions whenever you want by either leaving them in the comments section of any of our videos, emailing us info@gearist.com, or finding us on any of our social outlets, which you can see right over there. Just reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, mention @TheGearist, and we'll be happy to talk to you. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can do so by clicking that YouTube button right over there. And again, any questions, let us know. Also, don't forget to visit Gearist.com, the homepage of Gearist, and you can find all our reviews, all our videos, and some more stuff that you probably didn't know about sitting right over there. Thank you guys so much for spending a few minutes with us today. We'll see you next time.